Bama fans, welcome into the Alabama Football Report. I am your host today, Chris Daughtry, and we've got a loaded slate on today's show. A lot of things coming out of the On3 Elite Series, and as far as in the recruiting cycle for Alabama, top quarterback target for Alabama, Keelon Russell. We'll talk about the latest on him. Jaime Ffrench, a former wide receiver commitment for Alabama, decommitted after Nick Saban retired. He wants a Lambo. The latest on David Sanders, Andrew Bone from Bama Online gave us an update on if Alabama is still in the hunt for him there, as well as five-star corner Dijon Lee has set a commitment date to make his commitment to who he's going to play for in college. First up here, we're going to talk about Keelon Russell, one of the top quarterback targets for Alabama in this 2025 class. Seems like really one of the biggest guys right now that Alabama is going for. He spoke to Steve Wiltfong of On3 at that On3 Elite Series, and it seems like he really likes what he's heard from Alabama. He plans on making a visit to Tuscaloosa this coming weekend on May 31st. And this kid, like we said, he's one of the top targets for Alabama at that quarterback position. He's committed to SMU right now, but there's a few other big schools that I think have a chance to possibly flip him. He's a four-star recruit in the 2025 class, number 79 player overall, number 9 quarterback, and the number 14 player from the state of Texas. Now, ESPN does have him ranked as the number 1 quarterback in the 2025 class, but ESPN doesn't necessarily have the best recruiting coverage. I think they're probably the worst when it comes to Rivals, 247 Sports, and On3. Those sites really have them beat because, for the most part, they have him 9, 7, 8 in those quarterback rankings. These rankings right here are the 247 Sports composite rankings. So kind of in a formula, puts all the rankings from all the services together and kind of gives you an average, I guess you could say. These are the official visits coming up for Russell. He is committed to SMU, so we put them on there at the top. Like I said, he's going to Tuscaloosa on May 31st. He's going to Florida for an official visit on June 7th. He just picked up another official visit to Oregon on June 21st, and he already made an official visit to Ole Miss back on April 27th. This is what Keelon Russell told Steve Wiltfong at that On3 Elite Series in Nashville in regards to his Alabama visit coming up. He said, "Oh man, Bama has been one of those schools. It has the top things to make me flip. Talking to my pops, talking to mom, both of them telling me, how does Bama treat you differently? When I got the call from Coach Sheridan, I'm seeing a connection, seeing him break down plays, seeing him break down coverages. You can feel it almost. Getting down to Bama is going to be one of the big things. It's one of the bigger opportunities for me. It's going to be really important, and I can't wait to see what's down there. Can't wait to see the coaches and build a relationship with all of the student athletes and get to learn stuff and meet Coach Kalen DeBoer in person." Now, Russell had an amazing 2023 season in high school. His junior year, of course, 74% completion percentage. So, I mean, my God, really anything above like 65 is pretty damn good. 74 is pretty amazing. 2,300 plus passing yards this season, 300 yards rushing on the ground, 39 total touchdowns. I believe 4 of those were rushing, the rest were passing, and only 3 interceptions on the season. So 39 total touchdowns to 3 interception ratio. The guy takes care of the ball. He's able to make explosive plays, and like I said, he takes care of the ball, 74% completion percentage. That's something you really like to see. Now, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. Keelon Russell is Alabama's biggest quarterback target right now. Can Alabama get him to flip from SMU? Type Y for yes, N for no in the comments section. It is the pinned comment on today's video, so you know what that means. If that ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and vote Y for yes or N for no. Now, Jaime Ffrench recently told On3, I believe it was yesterday, that his dream NIL deal would be with Lamborghini, which, I can't hate the dude, honestly, for wanting a Lambo. Lambos are cool, right? But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, he was he was committed to Alabama before Nick Saban's retirement. Nick Saban retired on January 10th, and then I think it was 4 days later he decommitted. And just him talking about the fact that he wants to deal with Lambo kind of makes me wonder how he was really ever committed to Alabama in the first place, because we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Alabama's NIL situation doesn't really work like that. Some of the top schools for Ffrench now that Alabama seems to be out of the picture, Texas seems to be the leader for him currently. LSU, Miami, and Tennessee, all top schools in his recruitment so far. I've got more on this in just a second, but we want to give a shout out today to today's sponsor. Once again, that is Fanatics. They've got your NFL rookie jerseys, all the Alabama players that were drafted in the 2025 NFL draft at chatsports.com/NFL jerseys. They've got J.C. Latham, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Tyrion Arnold, all the guys that you would want from Alabama now in the NFL. That link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. One more time, that's chatsports.com/NFL jerseys. And there should be a link right over here that you can click on as well. Just click on that, and you might have to do some filtering to find that jerseys that you want. But that is chatsports.com/NFL jerseys. Now, like I said, it seems like Ffrench is out on Bama. And to be honest with you guys, you know what? That's fine. I don't really, yes, he's a very good player. He's one of the best wide receivers in the 2025 recruiting class. But if what you want is a NIL deal from Lamborghini, you're not getting that from Alabama. That's not the way Alabama's NIL really works. It's more of that incentive-based type stuff. You come in, you do the work, you make a name for yourself. Malachi Moore, he's got the if they ain't wearing crimson ... shirts. That's great. Jalen Milroe, he's got the Lank shirts with Tyrion Arnold. That was a deal that they made together. And then you've got some other people. One of the offensive linemen, I'm forgetting his name, from Tuscaloosa, is just drawing a blank right now. He's got the local deals with Taco Casa. So those kind of things are great. But when it comes to these big money schools, is what I call them, whether that be USC, Texas, Oregon, Miami, Alabama is not going to beat them in just a straight up NIL bid. If that's all the guy or the recruit really wants is big deals for NIL, they're not really going to get that from Alabama. That's probably why the reason Isaiah Bond left pretty much immediately after the season, right after Nick Saban retired. It's been reported that he was kind of 1 foot out the door during the season already anyways. And immediately, as soon as he goes to Texas, he signs a deal with Range Rover. You're just not going to get that at Alabama when it comes to NIL. And when you look at Olasolinen, when he committed to Alabama, right here, rings over Lambos. That's the kind of player that Nick Saban wanted at Alabama, and I think it's going to be the same way with Kalen DeBoer. Now, we're going to have to see what happens with NIL when it comes to, the new House, the new law that passed in the House, to see what happens with NIL going forward, what happens with the collectives when it comes to paying players just from revenue sharing. We'll see where that goes. But I don't doubt that Alabama has had to, throw out some big bucks to get some of these five-star recruits maybe to flip from a team coming out of high school. But at the end of the day, Alabama's NIL collective just doesn't work in the way that, some of these big-name recruits really want. So in the comments section, this one's fun for me. Spam ROL in the comments section. It stands for Rings Over Lambos, because That's what we want here at Alabama. We don't necessarily, we don't want Lamborghinis. We want national championships here at Alabama. So flood the comments with your ROLs right now. Andrew Bone from Bama Online gave us an update on the latest on David Sanders, the 5-star offensive tackle. And if Alabama is still in the picture for him in his recruitment, and it seems like they are. Now, he did note that Alabama's probably not the top, and they're probably not the second or third either. There's still probably 3 or 4 schools that are above Alabama in his commitment right now. But, man, if Alabama can get this kid, it would be an amazing pickup for the offensive line because, the depth right now on the offensive line isn't the best, and you would love to get a guy, especially a 5-star offensive tackle, the number 1 offensive tackle in this recruiting class, the number 2 player overall, and the number 1 player from the state of North Carolina. Now, the upcoming visits for Sanders, these are kind of the schools that are in play for him. He's taken his 8th visit to Clemson coming up this weekend. He'll be taking his 6th visit to Georgia on June 7th. He'll make his 6th visit to Alabama on June 14th. His 6th visit to Tennessee on June 14th, and then back to Ohio State on June 21st. Now, some of the other offensive line targets that Alabama is going after, we talked about him yesterday, Ty Haywood, the number 10 overall player in this recruiting class, a 5-star offensive tackle, the number 2 offensive tackle in this class, and the number 3 player from the state of Texas. Jackson Lloyd, a guy that I think is probably, if I had to guess today, right now, I think Jackson Lloyd is probably going to be your first offensive lineman to commit to Alabama in this class. Now, that's not a prediction from me when it comes to if he's going to choose Alabama. I just think if he does choose Alabama, he's going to be the first offensive lineman to do that in this class. Number 187 overall, the number 18 offensive tackle, and the number 17 player from the state of California. Michael Carroll, another player for that Alabama really likes. 218 overall, number 11 interior offensive lineman, and the number 8 player from Pennsylvania. Micah DeBose, number 82 overall, number 8 offensive tackle, number 7 player from the state of Alabama down there in Mobile from Viger High School. And then Mal Waldrop, a guy that's ranked a little bit lower, but I think Alabama really likes. He's ranked 488 overall in the 247 Sports Composite rankings, number 38 offensive tackle, and the number 21 player from the state of Alabama down there in Central High School in Phoenix City, Alabama. Now, I gave you guys my prediction. I want to know your prediction right now. What offensive lineman do you think commits first to Alabama in this 2025 recruiting class? Is it one of those big-name guys like Micah DeBose or David Sanders or Ty Haywood? Or do you think it's somebody maybe like Jackson Lloyd? Let me know in the comments section right now. Next up on today's show, 5-star cornerback Dijon Lee has set a commitment date for June 28th, and he does have 2 predictions so far to Alabama. Now, Lee comes from California, so I think the people who have put these predictions in are pretty notable. You've got Scott Schrader. He's the On3 USC guy, so a publication that's out west where he's at. I think that's pretty important. He has predicted him to Alabama at a 65% confidence rating. And then you have Max Torres, who is On3's Oregon writer, who also predicted him to Alabama. He put him at a 60% confidence rating. I really like the confidence rating thing that they do as well over at On3. Now, Dejon Lee, his recruiting profile here, 5-star cornerback in the 2025 class, number 22 player overall, the number 4 corner, and the number 1 player from the state of California. And he's also got a lot of visits coming up here soon. He's going to be at Washington this weekend on May 31st. He'll be at Georgia on June 7th. He's got a midweek visit to Texas on June 12th, Texas A&M on June 14th, and Alabama on June 21st. So he's going to be committing on June 28th. So Alabama gets the last shot to get this guy, on campus and kind of have that recency bias, if you will. Now, he has also taken 7 visits to USC, but it doesn't necessarily seem like USC is in the running to get him. Now, I want you guys to get in the comments and let me know, to predict right now, where do you think Dejon Lee commits? Will it be Washington? You can type Wash in the comments section. Will it be Georgia? You can type UGA. Texas? Type TEX. Texas A&M? Type A&M in the comments. And if you think he commits to Alabama, spam Bama in the comments section for me right now. And while you guys are down there, make sure you are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We've got a lot of fun things scheduled for you guys. I'm very excited to be the new host here at the Alabama Football Report. So make sure you are subscribed right now.